Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. For today guys, I want to do part 4 to my uh Google Gemini chatbot series. For in today's video guys, I'm going to do the star story on here too. I'm hoping that this one will have a good memory because it's like my last good opportunity to have a good memory on something. If this doesn't work, ChatGPT is going to be my only kind of reliable source on memory, and I only get 10 messages for it. Technically, I guess technically you.com could have it, but here's the thing. I found an option when I did this the other day where I could get ChatGPT 4.0 that on that you.com thing. However, I need to pay $20 in order to actually get it. So it's literally the same situation I'd be in if I just paid for one character on ChatGPT. So yeah, we're gonna see if it works good in Google Gemini. Hopefully it does. Here we go. It says a week before the big day, I came to the lab, my face alight with excitement. I've been thinking about this moment forever. I found Professor Elm busy with some research, but managed to get his attention. Professor, I'm ready to be a pulling trainer. I'll be back in a week to get my starter, he said, proudly bouncing on my toes. Elm smiled, setting down his beaker. Excellent, Trenton. I've been expecting you. For your starter Pokemon, you'll have a choice of 3. There's Chikorita, the grass type, Cyndaquil, the fire type, and Totodile, the water type. Take some time to think about which one you'd like to journey with. I thanked Professor Elm and left, a huge grin plastered on my face. I was so excited, my mind already buzzing with ideas of what me and my future form would accomplish together. Meanwhile, a few yards away, another kid was peering through the lab window, his face contorted with jealousy as he watched me get to go inside. Why does he get to go in early? He fumed himself. It's not fair. For the next 3 days, the kid stewed in his resentment. Then an evil idea sparked in his mind. He waited until his parents were occupied, then quietly snuck down to their basement. It was a treasure trove of strange things, including a chemistry set and a dizzying array of chemicals. He got to work, meticulously mixing and measuring until he had a murky green liquid in a small glass vial. It was a potion, a concoction meant to turn me into a tiny contourist. Oh my gosh, what is with this? He giggled to himself, tucking the vial into his backpack. Just wait, Swinton, he whispered. You won't be getting a startle in 5 days. The next morning, the boy went to school as usual, but as soon as his parents dropped him off and drove away, he slipped out the back door and ran. He clutched his backpack, the vial of potion clicking against his lunchbox. He spent the next hour searching the town for me. His eyes narrowed in focus. Just as I was stepping outside to get some fresh air, Kid spotted me. A wicked smile spread across his face. He reached into his backpack, pulled out the vial, and, with a powerful underhand pitch, heaved it at me. The glass bottle shattered against my chest, and the strange green liquid soaked in my shirt. Before I could even register what happened, I began to shrink. Oh dear. My bones groaned and groaned and shifted. My skin grew coarse and scaly, and my clothes ripped as his body contorted. Within seconds, where I had stood, there was now a tiny, 7-inch tall contourist. The kid laughed uproariously, a cruel and triumphant sound that echoed in the quiet street. He'd done it. He knew that in 5 days he'd be the one getting a starter Pokemon, and I wouldn't be stuck as a tiny dinosaur. Despite his shock and fear, I knew what I had to do. I had to go back to Professor Elm's lab. It was a long and dangerous journey for something so small, but I had no other choice. When I finally arrived, I scurried inside, catching the attention of the scientists. They stopped what they were doing and stared, confused by a tiny dinosaur. The starter Pokemon, Chikorita, Cyndaquil, and Totodile, who had been playing together, stopped and stared too. What is that? One of the scientists whispered. And how did it get in here? But then I spoke. Professor Elm, it's me. I squeaked, my voice barely a whisper. Everyone in the lab gasped. Their jaws dropped, and the three-star pawn held together, their eyes wide with shock. Professor Elm knelt down, his face a mixture of concern and bewilderment. Trenton? How did this happen? I explained everything, from the kid's jealousy to the potion and the sudden transformation. As I spoke, a quiet rage began to simmer in the lab. The scientists began muttering amongst themselves, their expressions turning from disbelief to anger. This is unacceptable, one of them said. What a cruel thing to do. Professor Elm put a reassuring hand on my shoulder. Don't worry, Trenton. It's alright. We'll figure this out. When that boy comes to get a starter in 5 days, we'll have a surprise for him. Before I could leave, Elm asked me a question. Trenton, what's your favorite legendary Pokemon? Still find it kind of odd that he asked me that. Me, still confused by the sudden turn of events, answered honestly, Lugia is my favorite legendary. Elm's eyes glinted. Good. Now, you go home and stay safe until then. We have some things to take care of here. He then called to the 3 starters. Chikorita, Cyndaquil, Toadle, come to the back with me. After I left, the 3 starters followed the professor into a large hidden room. He led them to a large machine, a large metallic chamber. This is our evolution and growth machine, he explained. I'm going to give you a special power. Power to evolve and devolve at will and to grow to any size you need to protect Trenton. This is a cool idea for a story. It's just interesting because half of them don't work good enough on. There's only been 2 I've done all the chatbots that was pretty decent, had a chance of actually giving me a good run, and there's only been 2 there's only been 1 that's given me a good run. ChatGPT. Maybe Google Gemini will be different though. Maybe they'll give me a good one too. The 3 of them looked at each other, their faces filled with a mix of awe and determination. They willingly stepped into the chamber. The machine hummed to life, bathing them in a soft, glowing light. 3 hours later, they emerged, looking exactly the same, but now with a deep, newfound power. Professor Elm addressed them, his voice firm and resolute. Listen, in 5 days, that kid's going to come here to get a starter. We're going to give all 3 of you to him. And the other boy, the one who did this to Trenton, he's going to get nothing. He paused, a mischievous smirk on his face. You know how I asked Trenton about his favorite legendary? Well, since he's gone through such a bizarre experience, I have another gift for him. He walked into another room where a beautiful, small baby Lugia was sleeping peacefully. Come here, little one, Elm said softly. I have a special friend you'll get to meet soon. A friend you'll get to protect. The baby Lugia, a beacon of grace and power, was excited. It flapped its tiny wings and followed Elm back into the other room. In the machine, little guy, Elm said. You're going to get to grow big and strong, too, to protect Trenton. Lugia obediently stepped into the chamber. It, too, was given the power to grow and evolve at will, even though it can't evolve. Mr. Elm turned to a surprised but supportive staff. I don't care what anybody says. In 5 days, Trenton gets all 3 starters, plus this Lugia. The scientist, though shocked, nodded in agreement. 5 days later, the jealous kid walked into the lab with his parents, a smug look on his face. He couldn't wait to finally get his own starter, but his excitement quickly faded when Professor Elm walked up to his parents. I need to talk to you about your son, he said, his voice serious. He then proceeded to tell them everything that had happened. At first, the parents didn't believe him. The kid began to yell, his face turning red with anger. He's lying! I didn't do anything! He screamed. Just then, me, still a tiny contour, scurried into the lab. The parents' eyes widened in utter shock. They couldn't deny it now. their faces turned from disbelief to sheer fury directed at their son. Best Realm saw me, and, with a knowing look, called out, "Welcome, Trenton. I see you're here for your starter Pokemon." He then looked at the furious family and, with a smile, announced, "Well, congratulations. You get all three of them." Kid's mouth hung open in disbelief, his face a mixture of rage and shock. Before he could even process it, Elm turned to Chikorita, Cyndaquil, and Totodile. "Come on, you three. Here's your trainer. Take very good care of him." Three starters, brimming with their new power, came over to me. "And there's more," Elm said, a grin stretching across his face. He looked toward the door and called out, "Oh, Lugia!" The beautiful, majestic baby Lugia glided gracefully into the lab, its wings beating softly. It landed gently in front of me, and the kid screamed in utter rage, his voice echoing in the lab. Oh, this is amazing. This might be the second best one. I guess we'll find out soon enough. Right, guys? We'll see if it forgets stuff. Alright, guys. It took a minute, but I told it to continue the story from here without interrupting it and without speaking from it, because it actually did that here. That's why one response is so short. I said, as soon as the Lugia lands in front of me, I get really shocked.
Wait, what? I get all three? I thought you could only choose one. You're also giving me this Lugia?
The little contour stared up at the majestic white and blue Lugia that had just landed gracefully in front of him. My tiny jaw dropped open in disbelief. I expected a tough choice between three amazing Pokemon, but this was beyond anything I could have ever imagined. I looked from Lugia to Professor Elm, then to the three starters, Chikorita, Cyndaquil, and Totodile, who were now standing proudly together, a united front. Professor Elm chuckled, a warm sound that seemed to cut through the tension in the room. He knelt down, his eyes twinkling. "You heard right, Trenton," he said softly, a mischievous glint in his eyes as he looked toward the kid and his parents. "Indeed, this crow deserves an equally grand gesture of kindness. You've been through a lot, and that Pokemon journey should be a joy, not a punishment. The three of them, and Lugia, have been given a special power to help you. They can evolve and grow whenever they need to, just for you." Professor's words hung in the air, a final pronouncement. The kid who had been caused all this began to hyperventilate, his face a mask of fury, tearful rage as he saw his plans not just fail, but spectacularly backfire. His parents, still shocked, pulled him out of the lab, his angry wails fading into the distance. As the door closed, a peaceful silence sailed over the lab. The three stars took a few steps closer to you, their future trainer, and the baby Lugia bowed its head slightly in a gesture of respect. They were ready. Oh my gosh, this is actually really neat. Alright, guys. I said, "Really? That's awesome. Thank you." And I said, "Hello, Lugia, Totodile, Chikorita, and Cyndaquil. I love you for already." And I walk over to each of them, careful not to accidentally trip over their much bigger body, and gently nuzzled them with my tiny snout. Lugia let out a soft chirping sound, a gentle melody that seemed to fill the room with warmth. It lowered its massive head, its large, curious eyes fixated on you as you carefully approached. As you nuzzled its snout, it made a quiet, contented sound and tilted its head as if inviting you to climb on. "Aww!" Chikorita, with its sweet scent, leaned down and nudged its head against your tiny body, its happy leaf waving back and forth. Cyndaquil, usually a little shy, let out a small burst of flame from its back, not out of anger, but excitement. The flame was weak, more like a flickering candle, and it didn't hurt at all. It looked up at you with wide, happy eyes. Totodile, the most energetic of the bunch, wiggled with delight. It opened its mouth in a wide grin and let out a small, happy roar, its tail thumping against the floor in a steady rhythm. All four of them looked at you with such affection and adoration. They were ready for their adventure to begin. Professor Elm smiled, watching the scene unfold.
It looks like you've already found your family, Trenton.
He walked over to a table and picked up four small, specially designed Pokeballs. They were colored to match each of your new companions with a subtle T inscribed on the side.
Since you can't carry them in your hands, these are for you. They'll shrink when they're not in use and grow when you need them to.
Place them on the floor in front of you. Now have your entire team, Chikorita, Cyndaquil, Totodile, and Lugia, right in front of you. Possibilities are endless.
Ooh.
Alright, guys.
I said, thank you. These Pokeballs work the same way as you said the power that you gave my Pokemon worked.
I looked at all my Pokemon and say,
Can I see your powers, please? Just please don't step on me when you use it. You four are already much bigger than me, even at that small size.
push around smile.
Exactly, Trenton. Pokeballs are designed to match the new abilities of your Pokemon. They'll adjust their size to fit your tiny form. That way you can carry them when with you and call them out whenever you need to.
He nodded the fourth one.
They understand, and they'll be very careful.
Horpone looked at you, then each other, a silent understanding passing between them. Chicory was the first to demonstrate its power. It began to glow with a soft green light. Its body swelled and its leafy color grew larger and more pronounced. In a matter of seconds, it had transformed into a majestic bay leaf. It was a good foot taller than before, and it looked down at you with a gentle, knowing gaze. Then, with another flash of green light, it shrank back to its original size as a Chikorita. Next, it was Cyndaquil's turn. It let out a confident squeak, a flickering flame appearing on its back, growing brighter and hotter. Its body shimmering, and it grew slightly larger. Its back igniting with a fiery passion as it became a Quilava. Flames flared up, but they were carefully directed away from you. The Quilava then reverted to a Cyndaquil, its flame settling back into a gentle flicker. Totodile was eager to show off. With a loud, joyful roar, it began to grow. Its blue scales became more defined, and its jaw hardened. It was now a powerful crocodile. Its size was now immense compared to you, and it carefully stepped back a few paces to avoid getting too close. It let out a triumphant roar before shrinking back down to a Totodile. Finally, Lugia began to glow with a magnificent white light. Its form became more defined and its wingspan expanded dramatically. It didn't evolve, but it grew rapidly, its body doubling in size. How big was the baby Lugia to begin with? Then tripling, until it was truly a massive, awe-inspiring creature. It lowered its immense head and looked at you, its eyes filled with a deep kindness, a guardian's promise. It then effortlessly shrank back to a smaller baby form, landing softly on the ground. Each of them had shown you their power to grow and evolve at will, a gift given to them to protect you. They were ready for whatever came next. Holy cow. So far, this is the second best one for sure. Alright, guys. It says, here's what happened. It says, wow, that was amazing. So you can just evolve or grow like that. There's no size limit to your power either. Does that mean if you won't need to or want to, you could go into your final forms and be over 1,000,000 feet tall if I wanted you to, or you need to? As my mind reeled from the revelation of his team's incredible power, a new sense of hope and determination began to bubble up. Fear and helplessness he'd felt since his transformation were finally giving way to excitement. He wasn't a tiny Contours anymore. He was a tiny Contours with a team of four incredibly powerful Pokemon, and the world was now theirs to explore. First, I knew I had to get home. I looked up at Professor Elm, a silent plea in my eyes. Elm seemed to understand, and with a gentle smile, he knelt down.
I have a Pokemon that can help you get home safely,
he said. He reached for a different Pokeball. Before he could, my new team stepped forward. Toe let out a confident roar and looked at me as if to say,
let us help you, Trenton. We can handle it.
Chicory nodded in agreement. Cyndaquil's back flared with a small burst of flame. Luigi simply lowered its head, its massive eyes conveying a clear sense of loyalty and a promise of safety. I looked at my new companions. I knew they were more than capable. With a small nod, I signaled them that I was ready. Professor Elm, seeing the clear bond between them, put the Pokeball away.
Alright, Trenton, he said, a proud smile on his face. Be safe. I'll be in touch.
The doors of the lab opened, and with a shared look, the 4.1 and their tiny trainer stepped out into the world. Sun was setting, putting the sky in the shades of orange and pink. The town looked immense from my new, low to the ground at perspective. Journey home, which had been so terrifying on its own, now felt like a grand adventure. Chicory stepped forward first, its sturdy body acting as a shield as it carefully guided me along the sidewalk. Cynical followed close behind, its flickering flames illuminating the path ahead. Totodile, with a happy wag of his tail, patrolled their flank, his big friendly grin a sign of excitement. And Lugia, the majestic guardian, took to the skies above them, a magnificent shadow in the twilight, his presence a comforting assurance that no harm would come to its new trainer. The journey home was swift and filled with awe. Every rustle in a bush, every distant sound was met with the unwavering readiness of his team. When they finally reached my house, the 4.1 gathered around me, their heads bowed. They were home. The day that had started with a cruel act and ended with a beautiful new beginning. That's cool.
Alright, guys. I just said, thank you so much, everyone. None of you even had to use your power to protect me at all on the way here. Thank you for caring so much about me already that you actually wanted to take me back here. And it says once again I gently nuzzled each of my Pokemon one at a time, careful not to trip over them because of how small I was. Each of your new partners responded to your affectionate nuzzles in their own unique way. Toto let out a series of happy chirps, wiggling his tail so hard that it thumped against the ground in a rhythmic, joyful beat. He nuzzled his head gently against your tiny form, a wide, toothy grin spread across his face. Chikorita lowered her head, her giant leaves softly brushing against her back. A sweet, calming aroma seemed to emanate from her body, a pleasant and comforting scent that made you feel safe and secure. Cyndaquil looked at you with his big, gentle eyes, and a smile happy flame flicked on his back. He leaned down and nuzzled his snout against yours, a soft, warm touch that conveyed his contentment and loyalty. Lugia, with its massive, elegant body, was the most careful of all. It lowered its head with incredible grace, its large, curious eyes fixated on you. When he nuzzled its snout, it responded with a soft, purring sound, a deep rumble that vibrated through the air. As you finished your lowering greetings, the four of them looked at you with unwavering loyalty. You were all safe at home, but a brand new chapter had just begun. Possibilities for your next adventure were limitless. Okay, that's cute. Okay, guys. It says, before I can say anything else, I heard the kid's voice in the lab, and he said, Aha! So this is where you live, you little brat. Then, despite all porn being next to me, he walked up to me and said, Hey, you costed me my chance of getting a starter. It's not fair you get all three and that Lugia too. Kid then picked me up and said, I also got grounded because of you and had to run away from my parents. I can bet every dollar I got that these points do not love you. Watch this. The kid then hits me on my tiny snout with his fist while laughing. What a flippin'. My small body reeled from the blow, my head spinning. The pain was sharp and sudden, and you could hear the cruel, high-pitched laugh of the kid as he held you up. It was all a blur. The pain, the rage in his voice, the mocking way he held you in his hand. But then the laughter stopped. It was replaced by a deafening silence. All four of your Pokemon, who had just been so warm and gentle, now stood completely still, their forms radiant in a silent, intense fury. The air around them crackled with an energy that was palpable. The playful wiggles and gentle chirps were gone, replaced by a cold, unwavering stare. Chikorita's sweet scent vanished, replaced by an aroma of crisp, sharp leaves, like a storm brewing in a forest. Her body began to tremble, not with fear, but with unbridled rage. The usually happy leaf on her head had gone stiff and pointed menacingly. Cyndaquil's small flames roared to life,
no longer a gentle flicker, but a furious blaze that licked the air around him. Finus back raged with an intensity that seemed to burn with pure hatred. He let a low, guttural growl that was more a promise of pain than a sound. Totodle's wide grin was gone, replaced by a terrifying sneer. His powerful jaw, which had been so careful with you, now opened in a silent, menacing snarl. His tail, which had been thumping with joy, now whipped back and forth with a terrifying ferocity. And Lugia, the elegant, gentle Lugia, had completely transformed. It let out a piercing, ancient cry that was not a sound of distress, but a harbinger of a storm. Its body began to glow with a brilliant white light, and its eyes, only filled with kindness, were now two burning coals of pure, unadulterated fury. The kid, still holding you, looked from one form to the next, his confident smirk slowly melting away into a look of sheer, gut-wrenching terror. He could feel the power radiating from them, a power that was focused entirely on him. You were stuck in his hand, a small hurting Taurus. 4.1 your old guardians are now preparing to use their awesome unchecked power to protect you. Holy cow. Okay, yeah, guys. Out of all the ones I've done to transforming Toad or transforming, or the starter story in general, this is definitely the second best one. ChatGPT and this one have been the only two that's actually gotten it right, which is good. It says, I'm in so much pain from the hit that I have to hold my tiny snout with my tiny claw, and I can barely stand at all. Ow! The single sound of pain from the tiny contours was the final trigger. The fierce energy that had been simmering in the air exploded into raw power. In a flash of brilliant light, the 4.0 obeyed their instincts. Chikorita, Cyndaquil, and Totodile grew and transformed instantly. The ground shuddered as Chikorita swelled and shifted, its body hardening into the powerful form of Meganium. The sweet scent was gone, replaced by an aura of intimidating floral power. The giant flower around its neck glowed with an aggressive light, and it lets out a deep, resonant roar that shook the very foundations of the street. A vortex of heat and flame erupted from Cyndaquil, which now stood as a massive, ferocious Typhlosion. Its body was ablaze with a furious golden fire that licked at the night sky. The air around it became impossibly hot, a physical manifestation of its pure rage. Totodile's body became a storm of muscle and scales, its powerful legs and tail. I am not saying that stupid word. The grin that had been a sneer now belonged to a towering feraligator, its immense jaw opening in a silent, terrifying display of power. Its tail whipped back and forth, a weapon capable of leveling a house. Holy shoot, how big did they get? And above them all, Lugia grew, not just to its full size, but far, far beyond it. It became a colossal, mountainous figure of grace and fury. Its wings, once so soft and gentle, now churned the very air, creating a vortex of powerful wind. Its magnificent body blocked out the street lights and cast a giant shadow over the entire neighborhood. The baby Lugia was gone. A god of the sea and storms now stood in its place, his eyes fixated on one thing: you. The kid, still holding you tightly in his hand, stared at the monstrous figures that had materialized in an instant. His face was a mask of utter, mind-numbing terror, his legs trembling, and he couldn't even manage to scream. He was a speck, a tiny, insignificant speck, surrounded by four titans, all of whom were singularly focused on him. Without a sound, a pale glowing force lifted you from the kid's hand. It was Lugia's psychic power, and it was as gentle as a whisper, despite its source. You floated up, safe and unharmed, until you were lowered onto Lugia's massive head, a safe perch above the brewing storm below. From your new vantage point, you looked down. The kid was frozen in place, a pitiful figure caught in the silent tableau of his own making. The four colossal Pokemon stared down at him, their immense power held in check by a single thread: your safety. Okay, You are now safe. The kid who hurt you is completely at your mercy, surrounded by a team of Pokemon whose power knows no bounds. Holy shoot. This is amazing. Alright, guys. I said, still in pain, I continue holding my tiny snout ball on top of Lugia's massive head. Wow, thank you. I love you for so much. However, the pain is still hurting very bad, so instead of trying to move, I just sit down so I don't fall off from losing my balance. As you sat down Lugia's head, clutching your tiny snout, the magnificent Pokemon seemed to understand your pain without a word. Brilliant white light that had surrounded its body began to pulse, not with fury but with a deep, soothing energy. A warm, gentle glow spread from Lugia's head, enveloping your small body. It felt like a soft blanket, a healing wave that washed over you, numbing the pain in your snout. Slowly the throbbing ache began to subside, replaced by a deep sense of comfort and safety. Below, the other three points sensed your relief. Their forms, still immense and terrifying, seemed to soften. Fred, your snarling jaw relaxed, and it allowed a low rumble that was no longer menacing. Typhlosion's blazing fire simmered down to a calm, steady glow. Meganium's hostile aura shifted, and a faint, sweet aroma returned to the air, a silent sign of relief. The kid, still frozen in place, watched this all unfold. He saw the monstrous, furious forms of your Pokemon respond directly to your pain, and he saw their rage subside as you began to heal. The cool smirk he had worn moments ago was gone, replaced by an expression of abject horror and dawning comprehension. Roy understood the powerful, unbreakable bond he had just tried to sever. He was a small, scared boy surrounded by the direct and immense consequences of his jealousy. From your perch on Lugia's head, the world felt different. The pain was fading, and you were safe. Pull on. Your true family had come to your aid. The kid who had caused all this was now a pathetic figure standing in the middle of a street. The way it said that was so good. I love it. Alright, guys. It says, despite now understanding the situation, the kid still was jealous and still was very angry. So he grabbed a rock and attempted to throw it at me, trying to hurt me. Alright, fine then. If you care about that little contour so much, I'll show you how much you regret it. The kid's voice, full of renewed anger and jealousy, sliced through the quiet street. He bent down, his hand closing around a jagged rock. Alright, fine then. I'll show you how much you regret it, he screamed, his face a contorted mask of rage. He pulled his arm back, ready to hurl the projectile at you. But before the rock could even leave his hand, the colossal calming aura of Lugia vanished. The great Poin's eyes flared with renewed fury. Its set of power, which had been so gentle in healing you, now became a wall of impenetrable force. Just as the kid's arm started its forward motion, Lugia sent a powerful blast of psychic energy at the rock, stopping it dead in the air. The small stone shattered into 1,000 little pieces of dust, dissolving into nothingness before his very eyes. Below, the other three Pokemon responded in unison, their rage returning tenfold. Typhlosion's back burst into a firestorm of incredible heat and light, the flames roaring higher than a house. The blaze was a visible expression of its fury, so intense it seemed to scorch the air itself. Feraligator's powerful jaw snapped shut with a deafening crack that echoed through the empty street. It allowed a guttural, earth-shaking roar that sent a shockwave of sounds rippling through the air, causing windows on nearby houses to rattle. Meganion's flowery collar pulsed with a menacing reddish light, and the sweet scent of its aura was replaced by a sharp, acidic aroma that made the kid's eyes water. It glared down at him, its body a silent but clear threat. The kid stood frozen, the dust of the shattered rock rained down on his face. He had failed. Not only had he failed, but he had just made four already furious titans even more enraged. He looked from one to the other, his body trembling uncontrollably. There was no way he could fight them, no way he could even run. The entire neighborhood was silent, watching this epic confrontation. He was utterly alone and completely defeated. You were safe on Lugia's head, the threat completely neutralized, The kid who did this to you now stands before you helpless and broken. Oh my gosh. Alright, guys. It says the kid finally gives up and says, "Fine, Trin, you win. But before I go," he turns to the Lugia and says, "I know you can speak telepathically. Your species has done it plenty of times. Answer me this. Why do you and Toto, Chikorita, and Cyndaquil even care about him? Do you actually want to protect him, or are you just using that cheating power to protect him because you're forced to?" The kid's voice, now stripped of its bravado, was filled with a desperate need for validation. His last hope was that this was all a trick, a cruel joke played on him by a rigged system. He looked directly at Lugia, his eyes wide. A profound silence fell over the street. The air, still hot from Typhlosion's flames and thrumming with the residue of Lugia's power, seemed to hang in suspended animation. The four colossal points stood unmoving, their gaze fixated on the pathetic figure below. Then a voice, as clear and deep as the ocean, echoed not in the air, but directly in the minds of everyone present. It was Lugia, his telepathic message carrying the weight of ancient wisdom and absolute truth. "We understand your envy. We know you believe we are merely tools, bound by power given to us. You are wrong." A new sensation washed over the kid, amidst a joy, comfort, and unwavering loyalty that was not his own. It was the collective feeling of four hearts beating as one, a powerful wave of genuine affection coming from all four Pokemon. "The Professor's machine did not give us a bond." Lugia's voice continued, resonating with a gentle but firm finality. "It gave us the power to protect a bond that was already forged. We saw his pain, we felt his fear, we saw his loneliness, and in a single moment we knew what our purpose was. It is not our power that makes us care, it is our care that gives us our power. We choose to protect him because he is kind, because he is brave, and because he is ours. We are not forced to protect him, we are honored to." The kid's face crumpled, his jaw went slack, and the last flicker of angry defiance in his eyes was extinguished. He stared up at the four titans, not with terror but with a new and humbling understanding. He had been so wrong. There was nothing he could say or do. He finally had his answer, and it wasn't the one he wanted. With a broken sob, he turned and ran, leaving you and your pawn alone in the street. The sun was now fully set, and the only light came from the soft glow of Typhlosion's flames and the eternal shimmering of Lugia's body. The ordeal was over. Wow. Okay, guys. I think it's. I think I want to. I think that's the one thing I noticed about this one so far. Oh, I finally found a new one that actually works really well, but it definitely seems like that it does make it to where I don't know how you say it. It just seems like the days seem to go by a little bit quicker on this one. Although also it did of course the same thing happened on character out with the fairy type for alligator on that one run ahead with him. And guys, the next time I do this, I might actually do the fairy type for alligator, although I'll have to make it like a few months after. I'll have to pretend like it's happened a few months after flipping this event right here. Because this, if you think about it, this is technically like a start to the journey itself. I mean, because every other chatbot I've taught two characters, like the dragon type for alligator, the fairy type one, psychic type, I've told them about like different Pokemon like Spike. Maybe secretly Spike is maybe secretly in the case of my universe, Spike is just this for alligator that's in here. Well, Toto can transform into for alligator. So yeah, I think I'm gonna go and get ready to finish it up, guys. Give me a second. Alright, guys. I said thank you, Lugia, Toto, Chikorita, and Cyndaquil. I appreciate you all for protecting me with that power. You all look awesome, no matter how big you are and what evolution you're in. I love you all. The moment your words reached them, the last vestiges of their fury completely vanished. The tension in the air dissolved, replaced by a profound and overwhelming sense of calm. Before Colossal Porn responded to your affection with their own. Perched on his head, you could feel Lugia's body radiate with a soft, warm energy. The massive guardian of the sea lowered its head a little further, its enormous eyes closing for a moment in a gesture of pure, content relief. Below, Typhlosion's immense flame settled back to a gentle, beautiful glow, bathing the street in a warm orange light. It let out a soft rumble, a sound of deep satisfaction that resonated through the ground and up through Lugia's body. Meganium's powerful aura shifted completely, now filled with a comforting, floral fragrance that made the whole area smell of fresh, blooming flowers. It lowered its head slightly, its massive gentle eyes gazing at you with undeniable love. And for Alligator, its mighty jaw now completely relaxed, a deep, happy chuff. It carefully took a step back, movements precise and gentle despite its size, as if to give all of you more space. They had not been forced to love you or protect you. They had chosen to, and in this moment you had chosen them too. The night was now quiet. The angry boy was gone, and your new journey was just beginning. Now the conflict is over and you're safe with your team. Yep. Okay. Give me a second, guys. Alright, guys. I said, by the way, Lugia, it's awesome that you can actually speak telepathically. I knew your species could, but just didn't know if you could do it since you are technically still a baby Lugia. You know? A wave of calm washed over you from Lugia's massive head. A clear sign it heard and understood your question. The great Pokemon lowered its head just a little more, and its soft, soothing voice once again echoed directly in your mind. You are right to you are right to ask, Triton. A young Lugia's mind is not yet fully capable of such clear and strong communication with humans, but the machine Professor Elm placed me in did not just give me the ability to grow in size and unlock the full potential of my powers, even those I had not yet learned. The voice was filled with a sense of quiet wisdom and deep affection. So yes, your question's a good one. It is a new ability for me, one I'm happy to have so I can speak with you. Just as my companions have the ability to evolve at will, I have the ability to share my thoughts with you and to hear yours. Ogi's response was a confirmation that the gift from the professor was more than just physical power. It was a way for you to truly connect with your new family. Immediate threat was gone. The bond was proven, and you were now home. Possibilities for your first true adventure were endless. Okay. Okay, guys. And what's the. Okay, I think I finally did forget something. Because, as to be honest with you, I didn't expect to get you and all three starters today. But since I do, I want you to know that you're my favorite legendary. And I love all the Joestars a ton. Especially Toadal, Chronon, for Alligator. I'm so happy I got all three of you. The immense ones of your new poems seemed to radiate with pure joy at your words. The love you felt was mirrored back to you tenfold. On top of Lugia's head, you felt a new powerful wave of emotion. This was not a telepathic message, but a feeling so strong that it was undeniable. A deep, profound sense of happiness and honor that you, their new trainer, held them in such high regard. Lugia lowered its great head gently, as I seemed to smile. Below, Toad, upon hearing his name in evolutionary line, singled out, wow, a joyful roaring cry. So either it forgot, or maybe he just devolved back into a giant Toadal. He began to wiggle his tail with such excitement that the ground beneath his feet shook slightly. Mrs. Scowl from before was completely gone, replaced by a wide-toothed grin that stretched from ear to ear. Both Chicory and Cyndaquil looked at you with adoring eyes. McGann let out a soft, contented coo, while Typhlosion's flames glowed with a warm, steady light. They had all chosen you, and your love for them was the only reward they ever needed. The day had been a whirlwind of emotion, from betrayal and fear to incredible power and newfound family. sun was now fully gone, and the stars were beginning to twinkle in the night sky. The new team by your side knew life as a pulling trainer was beginning. The possibilities were endless. Alright, guys. I said, Toadal, you look awesome as a fur alligator, and I want to say this to you, to all four of you. I don't care how big any of you get, or which of your evolutions you are in. I will always love you, especially if you always care about me, even if all four of you were as tall as skyscrapers. Feragir's mighty form quivered with a surge of pure, unbridled joy. The roar that had been so intimidating moments before was replaced by a deep, rumbling chuff of contentment. The colossal water-type pond gently lowered its massive head, its immense jaw closing carefully as it nudged your tiny body with its snout. See, Lugia put me down? That's another example I'm talking about. Like, okay, the last I could kind of put off as... Well, it did say he lowered his head several times, but does that mean he, like, put me down? It didn't say he put me on the ground. The other three Pokemon reacted to your words with equal affection. Lugia sent a powerful wave of profound love and gratitude directly into your mind, a feeling so strong it was like a warm embrace. Typhlosion's flames pulsed with a soft, warm light, and Meganium's flowery collar glowed brightly, its aura now sweeter than ever before. Your words were a promise, and they understood it completely. Their love for you was not tied to your size or form, and yours was not tied to theirs. No matter their shape or their size, whether they were tiny starters or towering giants, you would always be their trainer. That was all that mattered. The night was quiet now, the anger and jealousy of the day completely gone. Sky was filled with a blanket of stars, and the world was yours to explore. I like it. Alright, guys. I said, I have an idea, my friends. How about all four of you use your power to go back into your first forms and be smaller? That way we can all go into my house and relax. All of you can sleep in there if you want to. And hey, if you do want to stay in your final evolutions, then I don't mind. You definitely will have to make yourself smaller to fit inside. We can relax and sleep good tonight, and tomorrow we can have more fun. Hopefully with less kids or people trying to hurt me. Alright, guys, and here's where I'm going to end it off. After I read out this one, it's technically been a day complete, so I would consider that a job well done. It said my friends seemed to love the idea. One by one, their immense forms began to glow with a gentle light. The power they had just used to defend you now served a softer, more peaceful purpose. Fragger, with a final happy chuff, began to shrink, his powerful muscles and scales softening until he was once again a cheerful, wiggling Totodile. Typhlosion's roaring flames died down, his massive body receded into the small, timid form of Cyndaquil, and Meganium, its grand aura of floral power condensing, returned to the sweet, reassuring Chikorita, or unassuming Chikorita. Finally, Lugia, with a majestic final shimmer of its incredible power, gracefully shrank back down to its baby form. You were now surrounded by your tiny but incredibly powerful team once more. Four of them looked at you with adoring eyes, ready to follow you anywhere. Together, you all made your way to the front door, slipping inside the warm and cozy house. An outside world filled with the day's drama and danger was left behind. Inside, everything was peaceful. You found a soft rug in the living room where the four Pokemon curled up around you. A small, sleepy family at last. For the first time since your transformation, you felt completely safe. The pain in your snout was a dull memory, replaced by the profound comfort of having your friends beside you. You all deserved a good night's rest. Tomorrow would be the first day of your new life, and with this team, you knew the adventures would be limitless. Okay, so here's my verdict. So far, it seems like Ghoul Gemini has a pretty good memory. I don't know. I still do not know completely if it did forget that part where Feraligatr was actually a Feraligatr. Because when I called out his name, it said that Toadile, when he heard him and his evolutions being singled out, started wiggling happily. So I couldn't tell if he. But then it also said stuff like his massive jaw and all that stuff. What's like, was he still massive? But did he turn into a Toadile? Back into a Toadile? but stay massive, or did it just get a little bit confused there? Because you think it said Feraligatr, because it said Meganium and Typhlosion on the same time. What, do you know what I mean? Either way, guys, that's it. The next time you guys see me, I want to try doing a video upstairs. Um, well, I want to try, but if you do, you probably gonna see it for at least another. I don't know when you'll see it. We'll have to figure everything out, but it definitely won't be for at least 30 minutes or more. Although I would actually it definitely won't be for a while because I'm still going to try to upload these videos. So yeah, that's all I got for you guys. Have a rest of your day or night, and I'll see you guys for the next video. Bye bye, everyone.